if you don't want to be spoiled about Spider-Man, and please, if you have not watched this movie, don't keep listening.
Yeah, do not keep listening.
So if you don't want to get spoiled in Spider-Man, cut it now, leave. If you've already seen the movie, stick around, and we're just going to nerd out and talk about spoilery shit right now.
So we'll give you like 5 seconds to leave. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Fucking Daredevil!
Did you unfold a piece of paper? That's so funny. Yeah, so I mean, like, okay, I said this, it's a 10 out of 10 movie for me. A few things, this movie solidified Willem Dafoe is the best villain, Marvel villain of all time. We know Doc Ock's back. We're not even going to talk about the Spider-Man yet. The Spider-Man, yes, I said that. Dude, so the reason I think Doc Ock and Green Goblin are probably the best Marvel Cinematic Universe villains is because they have so much humanity in them and they're actual people.
Yeah.
And as much as people shit on Raimi, and I think a lot of people praise Raimi, Raimi didn't do the third Spider-Man.
Did he? He didn't?
No, I don't believe that was him. Or whoever added the extra shit. I'm going to look it up now. Spider-Man 3. Is it? Oh, it is Sam Raimi. I'm sorry. I can't.
Yeah.
Who's the guy that wrote it with him? Was it Alvin Sargent?
Listen, Spider-Man 1 and 2. Spider-Man 2 is still one of the best superhero movies of all time.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Spider-Man 1 and 2 are great movies. They stand up to this day. So Raimi, all the praise for that. You still get shit for making Spider-Man dance. Like, I'm sorry. It's just life.
Yeah. I couldn't save him. I was going to try to save him. But anyway, so Sam Raimi gave Willem Dafoe and Edward Molina, I mean, they're amazing actors, but also, like, they were people before they were villains. And I think that's an important part of making a good villain. And then, okay, so it starts off, Spider-Man's identity is revealed. He needs a lawyer. So who do you call?
Fucking Matt Murdock.
Matt Murdock.
This is the moment where I screamed.
Yeah.
I literally, when like his face pops up on the screen, I'm like, it's fucking Charlie Cox, everybody.
Yeah. Everybody cheered in my theater. They're like, oh, and started clapping. And it was amazing because people were like, oh my God, we know him from the show. Like,
listen, I am a cold-blooded American straight man. No woman could give me the feeling that seeing Charlie Cox's face on that screen did that day. Waves of pleasure. I was so fucking happy, especially after. Are you caught up on Hawkeye?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, after showing me
after
Kingpin.
Yeah, Kingpin coming back, like that just. Oh yeah, that was amazing. And then we caught the brick.
Catching the brick, like showing him that he's a great lawyer, but also catching the brick and Spider-Man being like, "Who are you?"
I'm a really good lawyer.
I'm a really good lawyer. So we find out that he breaks the multiverse. The whole movie we're saying, "Are we going to get the Spider-Man? Are we going to get the Spider-Man?" The reveal with his buddy, what's his buddy's name? Not Nate. Ned. He mentions that he feels a tingling in his fingers. He can use magic. He opens up a portal trying to find Spider-Man. And the first Spider we see we know it's not Tom Holland. Like, he turns around and the theater was like, oh, like freaking out. And who pops? I get goosebumps talking about this. Pops through the reveal was amazing. Pops through the portal, and it's fucking Andrew Garfield, the Amazing Spider-Man.
So, real quick, this wasn't an act, everybody. I had seriously convinced myself that there was no way we were seeing these two in this movie.
I had too. Because you're usually not wrong about these things, and he had been denying it in interviews. Usually, you see like pictures of people. Like, a lot of people take pictures of movie sets nowadays. Yeah. And you usually can see who's in the movies. I didn't see any of that.
Whether it was to save myself or whatever, I was convinced that it was going to be a stinger at best.
Yep.
When he pops up and he like kind of sticks his hand up and like it sticks to the wall to prove that he's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I just remember thinking to myself, I've never been so happy to be wrong.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was I was so happy when he showed up.
So, and then we get the Tobey Maguire just walks through the portal, and Tobey Maguire looks amazing. He still looks so good. I mean, he looks great. He still looks like a 30-year-old Spider-Man.
It's funny you say that because the first thing that I thought when I saw him was, damn, Toby got old.
Yeah, well, he was old already. And if you watch the Spider... Yeah, I still think he looks good, but man,
listen, if I look like that when I'm Toby's age, I will be super happy. I will not. I will be a fucking disgusting mess.
Yeah.
But if I did, I would be happy as shit. I'm just saying, I was like, yeah, Toby got old.
The movie, okay, so we get all three Spider-Men together. Those interactions are amazing. Like the geeking out over the web shooters. Tom Holland asking him if he could shoot him out of his dick, pretty much.
I was going to say, there's a 100% a cum joke in there, which just, once again, makes me happy. So when those three are together, I love the banter, especially the banter between Andrew and Toby.
Yeah.
Like, Tom was good, too, but those two together, for some reason, was just magic.
Andrew Garfield, man, I forgot how much I liked him as Spider-Man. I was like, man, I liked all of them as Spider-Man. It was hard for me to choose a favorite. They're all so good.
When you go back and watch those movies, I was just talking to somebody about this. When you go back and watch those, the problem with the Amazing Spider-Man movies is Peter Parker sucks.
Yeah.
The Spider-Man stuff is phenomenal, but the Peter Parker, it seriously is emo Peter Parker, and that's what kind of sucked about it. I also forgot how good of an actor Garfield is.
Yeah.
Like, he's too good to be in superhero movies. And people don't realize it because of those movies.
I thought this movie made me like Tom Holland more. I'll always be a fan of Tobey Maguire, but I think
I didn't rewatch the last two before seeing this. I don't know if
I
you
didn't
did.
either. No.
I don't remember. One of the things that stuck out about Tom Holland in this movie to me was that they really leaned into he's actually really smart.
Yeah.
I don't remember him being like a super genius in the other movies.
I don't remember that either.
So when he's like doing science stuff, and we haven't talked about Doctor Strange yet, but he's in the mirror dimension. He's like, it's algebra or whatever it was, trigonometry.
Yeah.
That made me happy because I'm like, okay, we brought that aspect of Peter in.
Yep.
That we haven't seen yet. At least I don't remember seeing.
That was great. So the scene, like, Spider-Man's got all the villains in Happy's apartment, and the spider sense scene where like he knows something's wrong, and then he finds out it's Green Goblin, and the flip from Willem Dafoe to being Happy to like morphing his face to look like the fucking Green Goblin, like it was where he talks to, he's like, he's on sabbatical or something like that. I was like, oh my god, Willem Dafoe, man, holy shit. That scene was amazing. There's so much great shit going on. Jamie Foxx came back, and I had a newfound love for Electro.
Yeah, the Electro redesign for this movie was it was as good as it could get.
Yep.
Even like those flashes of the mask and like everything. He was a bright spot in this movie too.
And I mean, just the interactions, the cracking each other's backs. That's from Spider-Man 2, because I rewatched some of the Spider-Man movies, the original trilogy, because it's been on TV now. And there's a scene where like Peter Parker falls and hurts his back, and he's like, "Oh, my back!" And they did so many like throwbacks to the old movies. And fucking Willem Dafoe says, "I'm something of a scientist myself." Oh my god! Like the fucking theater lost their shit when he said that. Just for the memes alone, dude. There's a subreddit dedicated to just specifically, it's called Raimi memes. It's all Sam Raimi memes from the Spider-Man movies. They lost their fucking shit after that movie, dude. They had like, we have so much new content. It's amazing. I couldn't, and the only thing that I hear about it, and I think you're always going to have this with a movie that talks about multiverse and other dimensions, confuse some people. And that's going to happen. I think Marvel did it. They eased their way into it the best they could. I mean, they had mentions of it in comics recently. They had mentions of it in TV shows like WandaVision and Um, the Loki show. Forgot about that show.
Oh yeah, that was this year too.
That was a series this year. Holy shit, dude! I was like, there was another show about multiverse.
That would have cracked my top 5. But
yeah, me too. I just thought about that. Yeah, shit. Yeah, and I think that's going to happen either way. Still 10 out of 10 for me. Oh man, the movie was so good. It was so good.
So just everything about it was just, there's so many good things. I loved Sandman from the third movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and he was like the biggest bright spot of that movie to me. The third Raimi movie, that is. Electro was great. I thought Lizard was cool. He wasn't used a whole lot.
He looked really bad. The CGI for Lizard, I will say, looked awful.
He's whatever. I'm not a big Lizard guy anyways.
Yeah, I know.
And I also like the more dinosaur-y Lizard look, where he actually kind of looks like a crocodile almost.
Right, yep.
But anyways. And then you could tell they couldn't get I don't know if the actors passed on or if he just didn't want to do it, but it was very obvious that they like CG'd stuff from Amazing Spider-Man into this just to show him transform back into Connors.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got, I think it was 3 complaints.
We didn't talk about the death of Aunt May.
Oh, dude, I cried.
So the only thing that was missing from Green Goblin to make him a perfect MCU villain to me, and he is my favorite, is he had to push past that edge. Like, this went from like 89 Batman to like the Dark Knight. When he kills Aunt May, like that's where he took like, okay, we started with this villain, and he's willing to go beyond, and cross that line, and it was awesome. And then we get that with great power comes great responsibility. Holy fuck! What a powerful moment! A great way to use her death for that, and really solidify Peter as. At the end of the movie, he realizes, like, I don't need my friends to know who I am. I need to protect them. So he gets this apartment. And I'm trying to remember, is that apartment like the same apartment he has that Tobey Maguire has? I think they're trying to make them look similar or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Also, someone said at the end of the movie, when he swings away, he's near the apartment of Kate Bishop. He's like in the same area.
Oh.
But I think that might be an Easter egg. But yeah, go ahead with your three issues. Sorry.
So yeah, I think it's 3. I'm only remembering 2 right now, but we'll do those. Then I want to talk about the ending, and I think that was it. But anyways, oh yeah, it is 3. So there's a moment where Toby is talking about MJ, and they're together. Sounds like they're married.
Mm-hmm.
And as he's talking, I'm like, just say you have a daughter. Just say you have a daughter. Just say it.
Yeah.
And he never does. That's one complaint. These are how stupid my complaints are.
These aren't complaints. These aren't complaints, people.
My second complaint is there's a moment where, and so this made me laugh because I haven't watched Amazing Spider-Man in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But I forgot that the whole reason that Electro doesn't like Spider-Man is because he thought that Spider-Man was black.
Yeah.
And so he was just upset that Spider-Man's not black.
Right.
Which I think is a really great commentary on society right now. But that aside, the line he says where he's like, there's got to be a black Spider-Man somewhere. And I'm just like, if Miles doesn't show up in the end credit sequence, I'm going to kill somebody now. Because you said, I hope there's a black Spider-Man.
Yep.
And he doesn't. And then the end credit sequence. So I didn't mind the middle one. I thought that was funny. It was goofy. It's fine.
But they're leaving the Venom. The Venom stayed back in this universe.
Yeah, which is a great way to just do Venom and get it over with. Like, not have to go through the whole he's from space bullshit.
No, he's just left over from Tom
and
Hardy.
If you really care, go watch those Venom movies.
Right.
But the fact that the end credit sequence was a trailer for the next movie really bugged me.
And I didn't even see it. I didn't know that was there, so I didn't see it.
Oh, it's literally a trailer for Doctor Strange. And I'm just like, no, don't. Marvel, do not do that again. just left a bad taste in my mouth.
Mhm.
That's the only thing in this whole thing where it's like a real complaint. Like, do not do that again.
Yeah. I mean, it was a trailer reveal, which is kind of cool, but still, like, give us a scene.
Yeah. Well, especially since, like, we got the Venom thing, which is... I really like that sequence. You saw the mid-credit sequence, right?
Yeah, I saw that one, yeah.
Yeah, so when he's like, so you're telling me there's a purple guy, and he likes stones?
Yeah, right.
So yeah, especially after that, and just that my head, I'm just like, show Miles.
Mm-hmm.
But those are my only complaints. So I'll say the Easter eggs throughout it were phenomenal. Like I said, just the hint that Toby is like M2 Spider-Man made me just freak out. Like, at some point you could just do that now.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk about the ending. So this whole movie was a retcon.
Yep.
So that nobody knows who Peter Parker is. So now nobody knows, like, nobody. None of the Avengers, none of his friends, nobody.
Mm-hmm.
And Aunt May's dead. So now we're in a world where Peter is just Spider-Man and nobody knows who he is. He doesn't have fancy suits. He doesn't have the Stark tech, all that shit.
Right.
As much as I love this movie, and I think it's the best Spider-Man movie, and possibly one of the best Marvel movies, I am so excited to see Tom Holland be Peter Parker finally.
Yeah, like a no-name photographer.
Yeah, like, and just the suit he wears, like, that he sewed up, it looked like the old school suit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nobody knows who he is. Jay Jonah's still bitching about him on the internet. And it can just be like an old school Spider-Man story and not have to be as grand, because how Spider-Man was introduced, being, with Tony and everything.
Right.
That was my favorite part of the whole movie, was just the idea that the next movie is going to be this.
Yeah.
And it probably won't be, I'll be honest, it won't be as good as this one. In
No,
terms of like how I feel.
Nothing will ever like replace that 20 years of build up for excitement.
Yeah. But you do get a real, it's the first time in movies that I can think of where you get a real retcon, where, like, this character we know and love, who's had 3 great movies, gets a refresh that continues the continuity. And it's another one of those things where you and I and people listening have dealt with this for years because we read comics, but now, like, the mass gets to see it.
Yeah.
And we really get to, like, refresh. Because I've always felt that these movies were more Miles movies than Peter movies. And now it just, the way it's set up, it's now a Peter movie. And yeah, I loved it. Everybody should go out. I mean, hopefully if you're listening, you've already watched it, but
yeah,
I hope everybody gets to go out and watch it. It seems, based on the numbers, everybody did go out and watch it. So I'm happy. It was awesome.
That. 10 out of 10. And thanks for sticking around and listening. And we'll see everybody in the new year.
Yes, we will. Bye, everybody.